Good day, everybody. You are listening to the Gearycast, the number one podcast for all the Malaga Gearies out there. Of course, welcome to the latest edition of the review show. I am Luke Chambers, your host for this episode, and I am today joined by the man on the coast who's been soaking up that southern Spanish sunshine. It's Mr. Chris Marquez. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing very well. It has been a sunny day, and we're happy, I guess. And we're not happy as well. It's a bit of both.
Why aren't we happy?
I think we're not really exciting with Malaga, maybe.
Yes, that is a very great point, and that is something that we will be diving into very shortly. We've had an interesting week, or Malaga's had an interesting week, or the media of Malaga's had an interesting week. It's been a busy one behind the scenes with not one but two potential buyers linked with the club. So the news broke in between podcast recordings last week, so we haven't really had a chance to dive into the matter. The two interested parties have huge pedigree in football. They're very well known companies. Firstly, Chris, QSI, what do we know about Qatari Sport Investment Group?
Well, I was going to ask you, I have made a little quiz for you.
Oh, here we go. I've been intrigued all day about this.
Yes. So tell me, which sport teams do they own, the Qatari sports?
So I
Or
know that
which tournaments?
they obviously own Paris Saint-Germain.
They do?
They own Sporting Club Braga.
No, they're sharing what they have is a minority.
Oh, interesting. And then I'm guessing we're going deep into Qatari football. You've trumped me on this one, Chris. I was not prepared for this one.
I know. They don't do Qatar football. What they have is the World Paddle Tour.
Paddle?
Yes, the World Paddle Tour. And they're in control of it. Paris Saint-Germain, Sporting Club Braga, minority holding, and the Premier Paddle. So it's not a lot which they own.
No.
But they own Paris Saint-Germain, and that's already huge.
But you could look at that as a positive, maybe, that they haven't got the fingers in too many pies, I guess, that if the link was to be true, that they could actually focus on Malaga alongside Braga and Paris Saint-Germain.
I agree. But there's also another party involved who joined the party, and that's FSG, also known as Fenway, I believe.
Yes.
And the same question, Luke. Which sports teams or sport leagues do they own?
So I have actually done my own work on this one. They own Liverpool. They also own the baseball's Boston Red Sox. They've got the Pittsburgh Penguins of the National League, which sounds an amazing team. They own a NASCAR team, I believe, and they've got very big shares in golf.
Yeah, Boston Common Golf and the RFK Racing Team.
Yeah, I heard that one, and I didn't understand where that one was going, so I thought I better not bring that one up.
But NASCAR is huge in the States.
It is. It really is.
A lot of money is involved. I don't know.
So maybe like when we say the Qatari investment group don't own too many different daily jobs, I guess the Fenway group do. They are part of everything.
The thing I like about the Fenway Group over the Qatari thing is that it's all different sports. So they only have Liverpool as a football team. They only have shares in Liverpool and not any other football club in Europe. I think that's really cool.
I think they used to have some kind of ownership with Toulouse as well.
Could be, but it's not on the list anymore. So
no, well, I think they must have pulled ties with that one.
Yeah.
So basically, I guess, Chris, you've just gave your answer of, are you excited by any of these, or is it just another link of us becoming somebody's B team?
I think, if I'm honest, there's a few things going on. The World Cup is coming to Malaga. That also shows a lot of interest for buyers to buy it now. And not, because of the World Cup comes with a lot of publicity for the city and probably also for the club, as you will see the stadium. Another thing is that the city is started. The plans are there. Is really going to start with upgrading the stadium.
Yeah.
So if you buy this club for 100 million euros, let's say it's 100 million, because that's the price which is being named, you get a free new stadium with it. You
Is
have
that a
to.
bargain, Chris? Is that a bargain? 100 million. I mean, these days, bog standard footballers are going for 100 million. You're buying a very historic club
Well,
for
that's
100
that's
million
what
pounds.
what that's what QSI is that's what L'Equipe and Sky Sports and all the media all over the world is saying, that they're talking about 100 million euros. I think it's a lot of money for a second division team as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I suppose the bargaining chip is like you've just said, the brand, well, the Nuevo La Rosaleda,
Yeah.
the location, everything is built. I personally think it is a similar link to this time last season when QSI was also involved. Don't get me wrong, the links seem much louder at the moment. Like you've just named a couple of media brands who are reporting it. They are the biggest ones in the industry.
Well,
Um,
there is a bit of a difference between last year and this year, because last year it was rumors, and those rumors, even if when it made it to the how do you call it, to the news,
yeah,
it was at an event of La Liga, when the president of Paris Saint-Germain was asked if they're interested in Malaga. He only said Malaga is a beautiful club and we're keeping them in mind, something like that.
yeah.
So now there's a different situation, because L'Equipe, which is a big newspaper in France, sport newspaper, and Sky Sports. Well, I don't think I have to explain how big Sky Sports is, and the rest of the world took it over. Because I was looking, I saw La Gazzetta dello Sport send it out, Football Zone in the Netherlands, Belgium, France,
Yep, yep.
English, every big media spreaded the news. And when media of that level is spreading that word, there is something going on.
Yeah, 100%. I think one thing we must clear up to anybody listening who's maybe thinking if one of these ownerships do come through, we're going to be oil rich, we're going to be spending money on Jude Bellingham and Mbappe and stuff like that. It doesn't work like that. There is so many wage budget rules, spending money rules in La Liga and Segunda. It would
Yeah,
balance the books for sure, but we're not going to be turning into any
but
multi-million spending football club.
if you are a multi-million um, national investment group, there's also a multi-million ways to work around all the rules.
As Paris Saint-Germain have proven on a couple of
Yes.
occasions.
So, of course, you don't have to expect Erling Haaland. Well, to keep it in within the French league, you don't have to expect the big names of Paris Saint-Germain coming over, or Mo Salah
No.
with Fenway. But there is, and is it a good thing? I don't know. If there is one thing I know, because there's always two sides. There's the Altani side, and there is the Malaga fan side and the investment groups. If there's one thing Altani has always said during the past 5 years, is that he's not selling the club to anyone, and he didn't. So
No.
until now, as we know. So if you ask me, who do I think the biggest chance has? Well, I don't think Fenway will buy Malaga Club de Football. I
No.
think there's only one opportunity, and that is QSI. And why? Because Altani is the nephew of the Emir of Qatar, and the Emir of Qatar is the person who is the president of the QSI. And I think Altani has been ruling the club, or not selling the club, throughout the past 5 years, due to pride and maybe a bit of ego.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah. Sure. I mean, he's been playing his mind games again. It was literally 2 hours before recording tonight. He's put a tweet out on X saying some build stories to distract, we build silence to prepare. Hashtag justice for Malaga. I think that shows how deranged this guy is. The regular hashtag of justice for Malaga. We all know what justice for Malaga would be.
Yeah, but he thinks different. So yeah, you have to
Yeah,
keep that in mind because
crazy.
although we are all against him, I don't know why he thinks he did nothing wrong, and the people will love him as soon as he gets control back in Malaga.
Yeah,
But the situation is being how can you stacked or stocked? I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't go anywhere. You have
No.
this whole juridical process going on. I think if there's only one investment group in this whole world who he might want to sell it through to, and that is the QSI. And why? Because the emir of Qatar, if you are from Qatar, you are his nephew. You're not going to say no to the I don't, is it the president? You can call it a president, but
Yeah, I
it's the
guess.
person in charge of Qatar, right?
Yeah,
So it's like a president or a king or somewhere in between. He's the emir, and that's he's the boss of Qatar, and those countries work with clauses and respect and being loyal to your country. And if
yeah,
one
they
thing
do.
is important, is being respectful to the emir. And if the emir tells you to sell, I think because I'm not from Qatar, but that's the impression I get, is that you are left with no other choice than selling it.
I believe you're right with that one, Chris. We've got some exciting slash keep your eyes out and your ears open just to see what happens. I must say finally on the matter that in true Malaga fashion, Merchant Director Malaga have reported that the judicial administrator Jose Maria Munoz
Yeah.
has denied any knowledge of these links. So again, we'll have to just wait and see for this one, Chris.
But do you think, because Sergio Pellicer was asked about it as well on his press conference towards the Oviedo game, and he said everything that will help Malaga get better or make Malaga better is welcome. But he also didn't hear of anything. Do
No.
you think it's a good option, or is this something we want? A takeover by Fenway or by QSI?
I think I speak for most and the true Malaguistas of Malaga that anything but Altani. Anything but Altani just to get us out of this hole what we've been stuck in for maybe 10 years. I mean, we had a fantastic season in terms of celebratory season last season. This season's been good, but we really need to step up now. After this season, we said number one aim, stay up. Next season, progress. I just see under Altani's ownership, I can't see where we're going to be able to progress. Like, I think the interesting stat is we've not spent a penny on a player in what, 7 years, is it?
I think also with the juridical administrator and everything, it's paralyzed at the moment.
Hmm.
We're not we're making the same transfers as you said, same signings as you said. The club is not in progression, or there's no. It's just a club on hold
Yeah.
till there is a solution, and I think
Yeah.
that's bad for the club. It's bad for the fans, and I think, as I've said earlier, this is the only way to end things, in my opinion, because um, the whole court thing
Hmm.
is not going anywhere.
No, no chance. We
That
hope
has
that
been
there's
stopped
light
for
at
a
the
few
end of it.
years,
Yeah,
and Altani doesn't want to sell, so everything stays as it is.
yeah,
But time goes on, and I think Malaga needs to get out of this situation, and Malaga has to grow. And if that's with Fenway, I'm fine with it. And if that's with QSI, I'm happy with it as well. My choice would be Fenway. Um,
Chris wants Fenway because he's got a dream that Arnie Slot, once he's finished with Liverpool, to move into the Malaga job so he can get his half and half Feyenoord and Malaga scarf out.
no, I just think it would be a cool
Yeah,
connection.
I know,
I
I know
think
what you mean.
they
I know
have
what you mean.
different sport teams, so I that would
Yeah.
be my choice.
Right, so moving on from that matter, because we could speak all day on this matter, and I believe everybody on Twitter and so on can talk about it. But we have had 2 fixtures. What's been announced? We've got Eibar away. That is going to be played on Monday, the 21st of April. It's a 7:30 kickoff. The following week, we have got Castellón in La Rosaleda. This is on Sunday, the 27th of April. And that's going to be a lovely 6:30 kickoff. We are now going to look into the Segunda results from this weekend. Chris, I believe you have them with you.
I have them here. It started all off at Friday night with Tenerife playing against Granada. Granada got a red card, and Tenerife won that match with 2-1 at home. So I think it's a little celebration, but I think they're down anyways. Yeah. Then Eldense versus Burgos, that ended up the same way it started, with a 0-0 draw. We had Racing de Ferrol against Deportivo La Coruña, and Deportivo won 1-0. So Ferrol is also good news that they lost, I guess. We can be happy about that. Then Cartagena versus Castellón, that ended up in a 2-2 draw. And Racing de Santander won 2-0 against Real Zaragoza, who also received a red card. I think we can be happy with that result as well. It's important for Malaga. Almeria against Levante. Almeria won that match 1-0. Top teams. We don't really care, do we?
No.
It's nice for them. Not really important to us. Then what is important to us, and maybe not as much important, but looking towards next week's match, Cordoba lost against Elche, against the leaders of the league, and 2-1. So a good result, maybe not. We will discuss it later in the next episode. And Albacete, with a man less on the pitch, also a red card, ended up winning in, I believe it was a late goal.
Very late.
1996.
Yeah, very late.
Against Mirandes. And Huesca versus Sporting Gijón, also same result, 3-2 for Huesca. And now started already, and they're halfway, and it's still 0-0. That's Cádiz versus Eibar.
Yeah, so like you just mentioned then, Chris, some very interesting results there. And I personally believe that results went our way. The draw between Eldense and Burgos, Real Zaragoza getting beat, Castellón only drawing with Cartagena. Teams weren't making any real points up on us, was after a tough day in Oviedo that we will speak about. But first, we are going to go through Atletico Malagueño and Malaga Femenino, the report. So it's been a tough weekend all around, as Malaga Femenino's good run of results came to an abrupt end with a 4-0 loss to 4th place Elche. With all 4 of these goals coming in the second half, Malaga completely collapsed in this half, unfortunately for them. Our champions-elect, Atletico Malagueño, unfortunately, had a surprising result when drawing 0-0 at home to FC Marbella. The game was played at the same time as the first team played, and Malagueño were definitely without several key players like Chupete, Rafa. Real Jaén was victorious, and they closed the gap back to 3 points in what looks like a title race that's going to go all the way to the end. As mentioned before, Malagueño play Real Jaén on the last day of the season in Jaén. So fingers crossed the guys can get this all wrapped up before that last day, because they do not want to be going there needing a result, Chris.
3-point gap. I know I've said this before, and I don't want to go too much into the review, but it's very close now. And I think if we keep using Chupete in the first team and keep bringing players with us who are very important for Atletico Malagueño, I think this story can end in a way that is ended over the past few seasons, and that's with not ending this season as the champions of their league.
And it's usually Real Jaén who do end Atletico Malagueño's run. I believe it was last season in the playoffs. I do agree regarding this weekend, Chupete starting. I like that. If you are going to take these youngsters, play them, give them good minutes. Don't be bringing them on for 5 minutes. Otherwise, there would be more use in Malagueño. It were good to see Rafa. I don't know if I forget his name, Ariaza, the boy who Matt liked.
are we getting to the point whether it's more important for Rafa to make minutes, or is it more important for Atletico Malagueño to end this season being the champion? And because they're looking for this promotion for the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and there's always something. And this
yeah.
season, I think if Chupete was still playing with them, we would have had a whole different situation.
Yeah, potentially, and it'll be interesting to see what happens at the weekend. I believe that Atletico Malagueño will be away. I'm not sure what day they are playing as of yet, but as we are talking about the team, Chris, Sergio rang the changes again with four of them: Puga, Manu, Molina, Antonito, and Chupete coming into the starting 11. That 11 was Alfonso Guerrero, Puga, Nelson Monte, Eynard, Victor Garcia, Manu, Molina, Luis Me, David Larubia, Lobete, Antonito, and Chupete. Was you happy with this lineup, Chris?
Yes and no. I was happy with the lineup except for one player, and that was Chupete, and that it's Chupete. But last week we started with Dioni.
Yes.
He scored a goal last week, and now we're starting with another striker again. I mean, you have to
Yeah.
give confidence to one striker, and playing a different striker every week isn't helping the players, and I don't think it's helping the team either. And I don't know. I think it's strange
It was
because
a
I did.
strange one, especially going to a tough place like Oviedo to put our B team striker as the lone man. Maybe in La Rosaleda, give him a couple of starts, but to chuck him in the deep end, we were never going to create many chances in this game.
And maybe the B team striker should be with the B team, who can become a champion with the B team. And if I look, and I don't want to say too much already, but I didn't see him. And since his goal, when we got all excited, Chupete, Chupete,
Hmm.
he hasn't been very important or dangerous.
No, that's the unfortunate thing where he could be huge for Malagueño. I do like we'll speak about it shortly. I think he had an okay game at certain bits. However, he didn't play as a striker. We never fed him or anything. Going into that, Chris, I dare say there's no real need to dive into that first half too much. It was, of course, 0-0 at half time.
Dangerous. Oviedo was good.
See, I thought we was decent in that first half. However, we didn't create
But
anything.
it's the danger they create.
Yeah.
They're passing around. Cazorla, of course, helps a lot. They're very dangerous.
Hmm. I just think with certain teams, what we come up against, every team has a flair player. Our flair player is maybe David Larubia, who can do great things and then go quiet for the next 30 minutes. I mean, I'm talking about the boy Hassan, who played on the right wing. He had Victor Garcia on toast. He was so
Yeah,
fast. More in the second half, don't get me wrong, but he looked a real talent.
they have a great team.
Hmm.
But the first half was a bit.
Yeah, it was a strange half. I mean, I think I put on the commentary. I expected a lot more from Oviedo in the second half. I think the new manager Paunovic would have gave them a bollocking. But it was actually Malaga who came out better. So we had early chances from both Chupete and Antonito as Malaga finally showed a bit of attacking intent. Should either player have done better with these chances, Chris?
Hmm. I don't know. What do you think?
I personally think Chupete should have done better. So for anybody who can't remember this one, Antonito had the corner, which I was happy to see Antonito take the corner. Manu Molina were taking him in the first half, and it wasn't very good. We all know Antonito's delivery is a fast, whipped crossing,
Yeah.
but he put it directly on Chupete's head. Maybe harder to miss than anything. He was, 3 yards out? The angle was against him, don't get me wrong. But for somebody who's got 30 goals this season across levels, I maybe be expecting to put it in.
I think, if I'm honest, and I'm going to say it again, I think the problem is not only for Atletico Malagueño. I don't think the problem is with the first team. I think the biggest problem which we will face, now things are not working out for Chupete, and he's always playing with the first team, is that they will lose confidence.
Yeah.
a player of his age. And I think we're asking too much of him. He doesn't seem to be able to handle the first team yet. So put him back to the second team. Let him get his confidence back and score his goals there, and then we will see next summer again.
I think a good example of that is when he's played maybe 20 minutes in our last 4 games. He then dropped back down to Malagueño and scored 2 goals last weekend when winning 6-1 in El Palo. Just to get that confidence back up, it really does work. Like I said earlier, for me, if he's amongst the first team, make it worthwhile. Give him good minutes. There's no point in chucking him for 5 minutes. But again, I'd maybe like to see those minutes in La Rosaleda rather than.
But then my question is as well to you: those minutes, what do you get for it on the pitch? And it's not much.
I do agree. I just think.
So what fruits are you taking from that?
I think it was Sergio who actually. I think Sergio put in our group chat, or Alex maybe, but we could have a £90 million centre forward and we still probably wouldn't feed him the ball.
But he's not looking confident. He's not looking happy on the pitch when he's on. He doesn't get his goals. It's not helping the team because Malaga he doesn't create much. So his contribution to the team is not what a striker should have.
No.
And in the meantime, Atletico Malagueño is starting to lose points because they don't have a real striker in the name of Chipete.
Yeah.
So the 3 parties are losing at this point.
You've got to think, as Sergio now made his intent fully with Rocco Batarina, obviously he's struggled like hell for goals this season. It is a mix between Dione and Chipete, it seems, at the moment. However, very much like Sergio, on Sunday, there's every chance he'll start Rocco because it's just a merry-go-round, isn't it? Like you said.
Yeah.
It's strange now after say, nearly 2 years under Sergio Pellicer. I wonder if in the last 2 seasons he's actually known his best 11. Besides, say, Roberto last season, we changed midfield 2 or 3 times, defense 2 or 3 players. Everything changes, and you'd like to think you know who we can trust.
Yeah.
But away from Sergio, Malaga had a decent start to the half, then came under quite a lot of pressure, which inevitably was going to come. I put in our group chat, I could see a goal coming, and I think it was 10 seconds after, a goal came for Oviedo on the 74th minute when Colombato smashed a volley home. Chris, could we have done anything to avoid this goal?
I don't think so, because it was a really good goal. I don't know what your opinion is about this goal. But
the only thing I can maybe criticize is, could we have done better with the cross what came in? Could we have been more dominant in the air? But as you say, you can't take anything away from that strike. I think if the net wasn't there, the ball would probably still be traveling now.
Yeah.
It was that good of a strike.
I think that you blame something on Alfonso Herrero. No, I think you can't blame him.
There were too many bodies in front of him, weren't they?
It was just.
But again, for me, the goal was coming. They were attacking. There were a couple of scrambles in Malaga's half, and that led to Sergio Pellicer making a couple of changes, which saw Dione enter the pitch against his former club. And 5 minutes later, Dione does what Dione seems to be doing very well this season. He scored a goal on the 85th minute. Great finish, wasn't it, Chris?
Well, yes and no, because what I didn't see him do was take a shot from outside the box, which the way he scored that goal was an amazing goal.
Yeah. It was just a great job. And for me, the good thing to take from this is how confidently he took it. He never snatched it. And it was strange because I've never been Dione's biggest fan. I'll admit that. I do think he's had a much, much better season this season. But when that ball came to that left foot, you knew it were a goal. Hats off to Kevin for the assist as well. At the time, I thought he'd slowed play down way too much. I thought he'd fucked it up. But then perfectly pulled it back to Dione, 1-1 Malaga, and I was thinking, this is it. We're happy for a point, I guess.
I saw a bit of anger in Dione's face when he took the shot.
Yeah, I wonder if... So, I saw a picture earlier with Dione with the Real Oviedo scarf, so I thought, yeah, of course he played for them. So I dug into this a little bit. He had a loan spell at Real Oviedo in the 2014-15 season, scored 4 goals in 12 games. How many clubs has Dione played for, Chris? Because this is quite an interesting stat.
It's quite a lot if I remember right. Is it 12?
No, it's more than that. So he's obviously a Malaga. He's Malagueño. He wears the number 17 shirt for Malaga, and he has played for 17 different clubs. So you can see how much he loves playing for Malaga, and clearly this is the reason why he's settled the game. But yeah, you could see some anger in that. Maybe that is him saying that is finally what we've wanted from a centre forward, saying, "I'm the goal scorer here.
Yeah.
I should be starting."
Yeah.
Too many players have come in and out of this team, taking the shirt and never really grabbing it and thinking, "Fuck it, this is my shirt." So good to see, but we hit the 90 minute.
The strange thing is, and that's the thing I don't understand. Who is our top goal scorer?
Dione.
So why not play him?
Yeah.
It's something I don't understand.
The scary stat for us is, and I can't remember the exact figures. I put them up the other week, but I dare say Dione's got 8, and then after that, you're talking players like La Rubia with 2.
Yeah, and how many?
with 2.
But what would have happened if we would have played him the whole season as our number 1 striker?
Yeah,
Because there are also a lot of matches where he didn't even play, or he came in as a substitute. I don't think 8 goals is a bad.
he's not, and I do think. I mean, I gave him my Chumbo of the Year last season. At his level of football, he's then risen to a better standard of football, and he's became a better player in my eyes. It looks like he's really worked over the summer, and he looks fit. He looks so fit, very, very sharp for a 34-year-old,
35-year-old,
35. He's the same age as me.
Yeah,
but yeah, so
we look fitter though.
We hit the 90-minute mark. 4 additional minutes go up on the ball. Malaga relatively comfortable, and on the 93rd minute, Manu, what happened with this goal? As Oviedo went 2-1 up, Chris. I've watched this about 15 times, and I don't know if to laugh, cry. What happened?
I think that, let me start with, it's the most beautiful own goal I've ever seen. It was a hell of a goal. I just think, but it was a difficult ball. And I've been reading a lot, and people have been saying, if you're a professional football player, you should know there's nobody behind you. I don't agree with that, because if you're a professional football player, you have the same eyes. The side, your eyes are in the front of your head and not in the back of your head. So that's bullshit. You never know who's behind you. So it was a good cross. And he tried to, in my opinion, it's quite a fast cross. Am I right saying that?
Yeah.
And I think the position, the ball was coming towards him, and I think the only possibility was to shoot it away the way he did.
I think if that ball comes into their number 9, he doesn't finish it as well as that.
No, that's true.
For me, Chris, that there's a couple of things what could have easily avoided this goal. Communication, massively. Yeah. Whether it's Alfonso Guerrero, any of the centre halves, leave it, Manu. In better words, I know you can't say leave it, but in better words, leave it. There's nobody behind him. Manu cannot see who's behind him. Yeah. However, we've got 5 players around him who can say away, leave it, anything. Yeah. After watching the replay more and more, I don't understand why Manu goes with his left foot. The right foot is the hook.
Granted, but I don't think he was. I've seen it back several times, and I don't think he. The way his body's placed, this was the only possibility for him.
I would have gone with the right. But granted, it's easy for us to say what he can do. He's not meant to do this.
But if you're left-footed,
he's right-footed, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I just
makes his goal even more stunning, doesn't it? If you're right-footed and you put the ball in, with your left foot the way he did. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be. I'm still annoyed with him. I'm still annoyed with him. So
I'm not because
I'll
these
say
goals
my no.
happen.
I just think it would have been a good result. What turned sour purely because of this
But
crazy
you know
ball.
what the thing is, because you say I should have right footed it.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you've seen a replay 30 times.
Yeah,
It's
this is what I'm
it's
saying.
it's it's a 1 second. It's a 1 second
Of course it
thing.
is.
You
Of
know.
course it is. I've played football many years, and it's easy for somebody to tell you what you should have done, but in that moment,
I
anything
don't
can.
think. I don't think. And maybe I have been. I've played as a right winger. I've played as a right defender. I think the moment the cross comes in, you don't really think on how to. You just get it as it. You just I don't know. Try to shoot it away or pass it away that or send it towards the
Yeah.
parking
Well,
plot. The way it
especially that.
comes, right? You don't think
Yeah,
about it. You
especially
don't.
at that point in the game with 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, you're not thinking. Oh, shall I take it with my right foot or the ball's coming? Shall I take it? You
Yeah,
just
away.
wait till the very last second, and then you're one of the two. It's I think a natural movement.
Yeah. Again, away from the comical finish or the great finish, whichever way we look at it, I just think communication has got to be so much better there. It really does. I mean, even
It,
the Oviedo players were in so much surprise as to what happened.
but
I
also, I
did.
have to say, like if you are an Oviedo player, I wouldn't celebrate it too much
I
because your
don't
team
know.
wasn't that good. I
30
would
seconds
just I
left.
would just keep quiet and
Hmm.
walk off the pitch.
30 seconds left. A big 3 points for him.
Thank the thanks for coming. I would do this. I
Yeah, I
would say
think.
I'm sorry. But Oviedo wasn't great, so I'm not sure I would have celebrated. Me as a person, I wouldn't have celebrated it. I would be very angry coming off the pitch, if I'm
Yeah.
honest.
So, like you've just said, then Chris, Oviedo wasn't great. It was a loss for Malaga. Is there any positives to take from this? Was we unfortunate not to take anything from the game?
I think at the end of the day, it's 30 seconds of bad luck. And I think what we can take away from it is that Malaga tried to have control. We had a lot of corners. I think it's a record this season. It was 8 or 9, if I'm right.
Yeah. Now you say that, it does seem. Yeah, we did have quite a lot of corners.
Yeah. I think we played not very good, but we played well
I
against the
thought we
number
played well.
six. Yeah,
Yeah.
we played good. So
I.
I think after Ferrol seeing us this week, we deserved the draw.
Yeah.
We didn't get it, unfortunately. So I think I'm still positive. It's just a mistake, and mistakes happen in football. Probably when you are working at your job, you make mistakes as well. I make them as well. It
I
happens.
never
I
made.
know a guy who works at the KLM, and every 3 years he works on the motors of airplanes. And once in 3 years or 4 years, everybody there fucks up, and it costs them over 100k euros. But where people work, people make mistakes, and that's no
Chris,
problem.
let's not talk about mistakes on aeroplanes. I am getting one Saturday, and I don't really
Oh
want to
yeah,
think
that's
about
true.
that.
No, but the mistakes are being made while so they know
Yeah.
because they check everything.
No, I totally agree. I think there was a lot of positive to take from that. Look, the main thing would get 3 points against Racing Ferrol. Anything from Oviedo would have been a bonus. And like you say, we were 30 seconds away from getting that bonus. Unfortunately, Chris, we do have to pick a chumbo, which I never knew what a chumbo was until your fantastic speech last week.
Crazy, isn't it?
All those
Very
years I've
strange that you
listened
didn't
and
know
been
what it
part
was.
of it, I never knew what chumbo actually meant.
That really surprised me. But for Chumbo, I will pick Chupete.
Chupete. See, this is where we're not going to agree. It's a painful one for me because I generally thought he had a good game and we've missed him a lot whilst he's been out. But the importance of what happened at the end of the game, I've just got to get to Manu Molina, I'm afraid.
No, you can't.
Honestly, it's been on my mind, and unfortunately, I look at myself. If that was my teammate in that moment, I just can't look by it.
Did you see Einar's reaction?
Yeah, well, I thought it was Einar at first, and then it went to Manu. I thought,
because Einar was laughing a bit, like, what the fuck just happened?
Well, even after the game when they were clapping to the Malaga fans, it
he was still laughing.
Yeah, and I thought even Manu had a bit of a smile on his face. So
no, he said sorry. It can happen.
Maybe he had €10 on 2-1. We don't know. But
would it be different? Would it be different if he scored an own goal? The ball touching his hip while he was with his face away from the ball. Would that made it better as an own goal?
No, I think from an outside view, the videos of the goal has brought a lot of smiles to a lot of faces, and I think it will go down in the history books for sure.
Let's be honest. If they tell me, listen, Chris, you have to make one in your career, 1 or 2 own goals, because everybody makes them. You have to. This is the day you have to make 1 own goal.
Yeah.
I would have fucking smashed it the way Manu Molina did.
I scored 1. Mine was a shitty own goal though. The ball was going in the back post, and
so if you could do it over, would you smash it in like Manu Molina did?
Naga, Chris.
I would. So I understand that. I hope it helps you recover from this loss, from this moment, with choosing Manu Molina as a jumbo. But we also have to pick Biznaga. Am I starting? Are you starting?
You starting. You know.
Okay. It would be very cool to say Manu Molina now.
I knew you were going to do that. But I thought he had a good game.
He had a good game. And it's one moment, just based on 1 second, where you chose him to become the Chumbo. I'm not going to pick him, although I really would have loved to. I'm going to give it to Dione.
Dione, yep, can't argue that. So my Biznaga is a really tough one. I don't think anybody particularly snuck out. I thought Antonito looked okay. Again, this is what I run about with Chipete. I was impressed with his hold-up play. So no danger, but he looked strong in holding the ball, bringing players into it. I think David Larrubia had a decent first half, and I'm going to give it to David Larrubia, but I don't think anybody really stood out, Chris.
Do you want some nice, because we're still a bit on the Dione thing. He played 30 matches, 7 goals, 3 assists. 3 yellow cards only this season, by the way. His percentage of starting as starting matches from the start is 61%. Minutes played, of all the minutes he played, half of it, 56.
Yeah.
His participation in goals is 29%. Let's say he would have played the whole season. That could easily be 14 goals.
Potentially.
He only started 61% of the matches.
So I don't know. Saying,
3 assists, 7 goals.
Are we saying in La Rosaleda on Sunday against Cordoba, you want to see Dione donning that number 9 shirt?
We have to wait till Friday to know what I think.
And on that note, Chris, thank you, Mr. Chris Marquez.
Thank you, Mr. Luke Chambers.
And thank you all, more importantly, for listening to this episode. We hope you've really enjoyed it. If you have, then please give us a like or a retweet. We will be back in a couple of days to record our preview show for the Cordoba game, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. I once more have been your host, Luke Chambers. Hasta luego y siempre vamos Malaga.